Hey guys, we are the crazy people who have been rebuilding a camper completely from scratch. My name's Noah and this is my wife Grace. And over the last 4 or 5 videos that we've posted, we've gotten a ton of comments and a ton of questions about the camper, about the rebuild process, about our thought process behind things. So we figured we'd make a little quick video, rapid fire answering those questions. So here we go.
First question, how much did we buy it for originally?
So
Too much, that's the answer.
we paid $500 cash for it. Question number 2, how much have we spent on this project total so far? Lots of people have asked this.
I'd say the biggest expenses were re-welding the trailer frame. That was probably, I think it was just under $1,000.
Yeah, like $900.
We found like a great farm welder,
But
and he
did quite a bit of work on it.
Yeah, replaced a ton of steel and re-welded a bunch of stuff. The last big expense is the skin, the aluminum siding on the camper. It was around $2,000 probably.
Yeah.
We bought it in chunks, so we bought like half the camper and then the other half because we were like, maybe we just need to replace the sides and leave the rest. Well, then the rest was trash, so it was 2 different orders, and honestly the shipping's what cost the most.
Yeah, it was like what, $300, $400, $500 in shipping
each
and
time,
we should have just bought it all together and saved on shipping, but we ended up paying double because we were non-committal.
We were dumb.
The next question actually is, where did we get the new aluminum siding from? Many people ask that. So we got that from a place called Hemet Valley RV.
They recreated the exact pattern of the vintage skin. They were great to work with, honestly. Question 4, whose idea was it to buy the camper?
I think the comment was, I bet it was her idea to buy it or something like that.
That's kind of rude. That's kind of rude, but it actually was my idea.
It was my idea to initially purchase a camper.
Yeah.
We talked about buying like a van and flipping it, or a camper and flipping it for years. And I initially brought it. I was like, hey, we have the space now. We have a little extra money. Why don't we start looking? But you found this one, and I said we need to buy one that's like square shaped because rebuilding rounded curves is going to be a pain in the butt.
And I said, you can do it, honey.
And so you found this one, and we watched it for what, 2-3 weeks, and finally made an offer. And yeah, so it was your idea for this specific one.
What are you doing? You want to say something? Say something. Oh.
Next question, is it really vintage anymore after we've replaced everything that we've replaced?
Ooh, good question. A little sting there. The title says that it's a 1964 camper. The trailer and the VIN and everything is original, with some modifications.
Like 40% of it's original
to make
because
it
it's been
safe.
rewelded. All the windows, all the screens for the windows, the screen door, the door frame, a bunch of like little drawer pulls and stuff we've kept. We've also kept a lot of, like 3 or 4 of the original cabinet doors. We don't plan on using them for cabinet doors, but we thought it might be kind of cool to incorporate them somehow. So yes, the answer is yes. It's still vintage in our heart.
Okay, question number 6. Would it have been cheaper to buy a new one, and why didn't we?
The answer is no.
That's very confident.
We went to Camping World and got on one of their little golf carts and toured probably 10, 15 different campers.
Yeah.
And I think the cheapest one, and it was smaller than what we have now, was like $15,000. We have not spent that anywhere near that amount.
We also don't like those new ones. Like that was a problem, is when we like toured them and stuff, like they're all stock. They're like kind of laminate and ugly.
Yeah, everything in it feels just kind of cheap and fake. Like the cabinets are like this particle board. It's like something you bought at IKEA and put together.
The outsides are ugly.
Yeah, they all have that
weird
swoosh design on the camper skin. I don't think it would have been cheaper. At least it wouldn't be cheaper at this point. I'm sure we could buy a new used one for less.
I mean, anything used we would have bought that was cheaper, we would have done a significant amount of like renovation on.
Anyways, so yeah. Next question. Did we know how to fix up campers before we bought this thing?
I had no idea how to fix it.
I also had no idea.
Like, you had like some woodworking experience.
Minimal woodworking experience. Like I built us like
a porch swing and some stuff like that. Yeah.
Simple stuff with wood, but nothing to this extent. Kind of learned as we went.
Yeah, lots of YouTube videos and figuring
We joined
out things.
like 3 or 4 different vintage camper
Like
groups.
Facebook groups, yeah, which are super helpful. Yeah, people answer your questions and show you how they did stuff. Okay, question number 8. Why didn't we build the camper bigger? Can you stand up in it?
You can stand up in it in a small portion in the middle. So the trailer frame is flat, and then in the middle there's like a little square that drops down a foot. So you can stand up fully in that. And we actually added a second drop down.
We did, yeah.
Where we're planning to add a shower. So there's 2 places you can stand up fully. And the rest of the space will be filled with things that you couldn't stand on anyways, like a bed or countertops. Yeah. The reason we didn't build it bigger initially is because we ordered the new aluminum skin before we
thought about that.
thought it through. So the aluminum skin was cut to the size that we had submitted. So we're like, well, oh well.
But also, it is a really nice size.
It's like a foot taller than my truck, so it's really low profile, which is nice. Did we reuse anything from the original camper?
We reused, the frame for the most part.
The metal trailer frame.
Yeah, metal frame. And then the windows.
All the windows are original.
Then we've got some original pieces throughout. Saved like the door handle, which is really cool, and
some drawer pulls. We saved several
stuff like that.
Cabinet doors that we plan on using in some way. We reused some of the original aluminum for wheel well covers and for our second drop down that we built as kind of a rock guard. So we've used a good amount of original things.
Question number 10. Why did we use foam board insulation instead of the other options?
So we used foam board for 2 reasons: cost and keeping out moisture and preventing mold in the future. So that kind of eliminated fiberglass insulation right away, because we researched that fiberglass doesn't allow a lot of airflow through it and can get moldy. So we didn't want that. And we found a place that a lot of like van lifers use called Havelock wool.
Yeah,
is it like sheep wool or?
Yeah, I think they're Colorado based. It is like sheep wool. It's super cool stuff.
It's like natural. It dries.
Because insulation's not great for you, right?
Yeah, fiberglass. If we had infinite amount of money, that's probably what we would have gone with. But so that left us with foam board insulation, which is moisture resistant-ish. I mean, as far as the options go, and it's fairly cheap. Next question: would we renovate another camper in the future, or is one enough?
I'm glad I got this one. As far as I'm concerned, one is enough. You might have different thoughts, though. This one's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun. We've learned a lot.
I think we both could agree that in the future, at some point, we'll try renovating something with an engine. So we've talked about like a school bus or like a van or something like that. Maybe. I think that would be fun. I would do another camper. The only caveat would be we would need a garage space to do it.
Last question. What's the most difficult part of the rebuild? I can think of a few parts that have been pretty bad.
I wouldn't say there's one particular worst part, because it seemed like every project we're like, oh, this is the worst. And then we finish it.
And the next thing is actually the worst.
So I don't know if there's one particular thing that has been the most difficult, but if we were to do it again, I think something that would make it incredibly easier in all aspects is if we worked in a garage or a shop of some kind. When you're working outside, you have to deal with the elements. You have to deal with how much light of day you have after you get off work. You have a couple hours before it gets dark, and then you can't work anymore. Yeah. So that slowed down progress a lot. You have to deal with the weather.
Yeah, the weather in Nebraska was bad at times. It would rain a lot, snow a lot. And then your camper's just sitting out there.
Yeah, we didn't want like all of our exposed wood to get torrential downpours on, and
so you'd have to plan to cover it and
uncover it.
Such a pain.
You have to worry about the temperatures because in Nebraska there were several months where it was just too cold to do anything, so we couldn't work on it.
Yeah.
And now that we're here in Utah, it's too hot to do anything, so we got
the summer is super hot.
2 hours in the morning before it gets too hot to work on it. So. If we were in a garage or a shop where
temperature controlled, like climate.
Yeah, and we didn't have to worry about like stopping at 8 p.m. because it's pitch black, and we could work. that would make the whole process so much easier. What has been my favorite part?
Yeah, your favorite part of the camper rebuild.
I love that we have acquired so many new skills and tools.
Love tools.
That's another expense that we probably haven't calculated, but we see those as like investments, right?
Do we?
Yeah.
You
For
might. I don't-
projects later on. So I would say that's my favorite part is learning all the stuff that we've learned and just the skills that we've gained.
Yeah, and doing it together.
Thanks for watching. If you have more questions about the camper or as we go along the process, feel free to leave them in the comment sections.
Yeah.
We may do another video like this in the future.
Yeah, for sure. But if you ask, is it really vintage anymore? We're not going to answer that question.
Or if
anymore.
you comment, what is it, Camper of the Seas?
Oh,
or
yeah,
something?
yeah.
Stop. Stop. Just stop.
Yeah, just we get it. Okay, we get it.